For decades, he made the rules. He was the patriarch, the king of his castle, the one who dictated every move, every dollar, every decision. Now, the court makes the rules for him. What you are about to hear is the story the network doesn't want you to know. This goes beyond a simple divorce. This is the complete and total dismantling of the Brown family patriarch, not by his wives, but by the cold, hard letter of the law. What I'm about to share with you is based on a series of deeply sourced insider reports. These are the whispers coming out of Flagstaff, the theories pieced together from legal breadcrumbs that paint a picture so shocking, it will change how you see this family forever. This isn't just a recap, this is an exposé. And because you are not going to get this level of detail anywhere else, I need you to do me a quick favor. Hit that like button right now to tell the YouTube algorithm that this is the kind of deep dive content you want to see. And if you haven't already, subscribe and ring that notification bell because this story is still developing and you will want to be the first to know when the next bombshell drops. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. All right, let's get right into it. For years, we've watched the slow motion implosion of the Brown family. We saw Christine leave, then Janelle, then Meri. We saw the arguments, the gaslighting, the financial chaos. We saw the family pot dwindle into the Kody and Robyn pot. We all asked the same questions. What about the money? What about Coyote Pass? How could three women who gave decades of their lives and their incomes to this family just walk away with nothing? The official story, the one TLC spoon feeds us, is that they are working it out, that the divorces are spiritual and the financial entanglements are being handled privately. But what if that's not the whole truth? What if it got so bad, so manipulative, so financially opaque, that the OG three wives, Christine, Janelle, and Meri, were forced to do the unthinkable? According to sources close to the family, people who have witnessed the financial and emotional turmoil firsthand, the three ex-wives, represented by a single powerhouse legal team, filed a joint petition in a closed-door family court session. This wasn't a divorce filing, this was something far more serious. Our sources are calling it a petition for emergency financial intervention and fiduciary oversight. Think about that name. It's not about leaving, it's about stopping a financial hemorrhage. It's an accusation, veiled in legal jargon, that Kody Brown, the man entrusted with the family's financial well-being, had become a danger to it. This petition, filed under seal to avoid a media circus, allegedly laid out a pattern of behavior so alarming that a judge had no choice but to step in and take away the keys to the kingdom. This wasn't just Christine wanting her share of Coyote Pass. This was a unified front arguing that Kody and Robyn's spending habits, their secrecy, and their complete disregard for the financial contributions of the other wives constituted a gross mismanagement of shared assets. And folks, the judge apparently agreed. The result? A set of court-ordered restrictions so severe, it's essentially a straitjacket on Kody Brown's life. Let's break down the first and perhaps most shocking of these new rules. Let this sink in. A court has allegedly placed Kody and Robyn Brown on what our sources describe as financial probation. This is a measure usually reserved for people who have declared bankruptcy or are under investigation for fraud. It is a fundamental declaration by the court that you cannot be trusted with your own money. So what does this mean in practice? Let's go beyond the legalese. First, the court appointed a trustee. This isn't a family friend or a mediator. This is a neutral, third-party financial professional, a hawk. Their job is to oversee every single dollar that comes in and every single dollar that goes out of the Kody and Robyn Brown household. According to our insider reports, all of Kody and Robyn's income, including their hefty TLC paychecks, is now deposited directly into an account managed by this trustee. They no longer get direct deposits. The trustee pays their mortgage, their utilities, their car payments, the essential non-negotiable bills. But for everything else, they have to ask for an allowance. And this is where the $500 rule comes in, and it is absolutely brutal. Kody and Robyn are required to submit a detailed monthly budget to the trustee for approval. This budget has to account for groceries, gas, clothing for the kids, everything. If the trustee deems any part of it excessive, it gets redlined, denied. But the real kicker is the pre-approval clause. Let's say Robyn is browsing online and sees a designer handbag she wants for $600. She can't just buy it. she has to submit a formal request to the trustee. The trustee would then, according to the court order, be required to notify the legal counsel for Christine, Janelle, and Meri. They would have the right to object to the expense. Imagine the humiliation. Imagine Robyn, a woman who, by all accounts on the show, enjoys the finer things, having to justify every non-essential purchase over $500. A weekend getaway for her and Kody? They'd have to submit an itemized budget for the trip, gas, hotel, food, and get it signed off on. A new piece of expensive jewelry from Kody? Forget about it. A spontaneous shopping spree at Victoria's Secret? Denied. Our sources say this was the part of the order that caused Robyn to have a complete meltdown behind closed doors. One source, who claims to have spoken to a friend of the family, said, and I quote, "Robyn was in tears. She said she felt like a teenager asking her dad for an allowance. She kept saying, 'This is our money, we earned this,' but the point the other wives made in court was it really just their money?" And that's the heart of the issue, isn't it? For decades, Christine, Janelle, and Meri poured their earnings into the family pot. Janelle was a steady, reliable provider. Meri, with her bed and breakfast and her LuLaRoe empire, brought in significant income. Christine's TLC checks were just as large as anyone else's. Where did all that money go? The petition allegedly detailed years of financial disparity. It cited the purchase of Robyn's $1 million home, while Janelle was living in an RV. It pointed to the family's inability to build on Coyote Pass, despite millions of dollars in earnings over the years. It allegedly even brought up Kody's business ventures, like his rumored involvement in the gun show circuit, questioning where those profits went. The argument was simple and devastating. Kody and Robyn had co-opted the family's collective wealth for their own benefit, leaving the other wives financially vulnerable. The court, by imposing this financial straitjacket, didn't just restrict their spending, it validated the OG3's biggest fear, that without legal intervention they would be left with nothing. This rule isn't just about controlling spending, it's about discovery. Every request, every denial, every line item on their budget is now a legal document. The trustees' monthly reports create a paper trail, exposing their financial life for the other wives' lawyers to see. The secrecy is over, the financial fog has been lifted, and for Kody, a man who ruled through control and opacity, this is a nightmare from which he can't wake up. But as devastating as this financial control is, it's the next rule that cuts even deeper. It takes away his most powerful weapon. If money was Kody's first pillar of control, his second, and arguably more potent, was his voice. For 17 seasons, we have watched him use words to manipulate, to intimidate, to gaslight, and to sow division among the wives. Remember the phone calls where he'd rage at one wife? The private conversations where he'd pit them against each other? The porch talks where he would lecture and belittle them until they either broke down or gave in? According to our exclusive theories, the legal team for the ex-wives argued that this verbal and emotional intimidation was a key part of the financial abuse. How could they have a fair negotiation about assets when Kody could call them up at any time and browbeat them into submission? The judge, it seems, saw the merit in this argument. The solution? A complete and total communication ban with one single monitored exception. The court order allegedly mandates the use of a specific application for all communication related to assets, the family businesses like their Dabsark enterprise, or the children, especially Truly. Sources are calling this app Family Accord, though the real name is likely different. Think of it as one of those co-parenting apps, but on steroids and with lawyers watching. Let's break down the mechanics of this, because the genius is in the details. 1. Every message is logged and time-stamped. No more, "You never told me that," or "That's not what I said." The record is permanent. 2. Messages cannot be deleted or edited. Once Kody hits send on a message, it's there forever, admissible in court. 3. The court-appointed trustee and the lawyers for all parties have read-only access to every single conversation. Kody knows that every word he types is being read by a team of people ready to file a motion if he steps out of line. This has fundamentally altered the power dynamic. Kody can no longer call Janelle and try to talk her out of her demands for her share of Coyote Pass. He can't text Christine with passive-aggressive comments about child-rearing to gain leverage. He can't arrange a private meeting with Meri to try and get her on his side. Every single request, every negotiation has to be done in writing, in plain, non-emotional language for all to see. Our insider theory on this is that it goes even deeper than just the money. This was about protecting the OG3's mental and emotional health. For years, they were in a psychological war. This app is a demilitarized zone. It takes the emotion, the manipulation, the yelling, and the guilt-tripping completely off the table. Imagine Kody's frustration. His entire toolbox of control has been taken from him. He thrives on chaos and emotional confrontation. Now he's forced into a world of per my last email. He has to be calm, he has to be factual, he has to be respectful, because he knows he is being watched. One source gave us a fascinating, though confirmed, tidbit. They claimed that in the first week, Kody sent over 30 messages trying to debate and argue through the app. He was met with simple, one-sentence replies from the ex-wives. Please direct this to my legal counsel. The app, designed for clarity, became a brick wall against his tactics. He was essentially shouting into a void, and the only people listening were the lawyers taking notes. This communication ban effectively silences the patriarch. It neuters his ability to influence and intimidate. It forces him to deal with Christine, Janelle, and Meri not as his subservient spiritual wives, but as the formidable business partners they truly are. It's a stunning reversal of power, but even taking his money and his voice isn't the final humiliation. The court had one more mandate, one final blow designed to strip him of the last vestiges of the authority he so desperately craved. The ultimate humiliation. This right here is the part of the story that sounds like it's ripped from a Hollywood script. It is the most personal, most psychologically devastating mandate of them all. The court didn't just put Kody on financial probation, it essentially declared him incompetent. It wasn't enough to take away his checkbook. The judge, in an act of what can only be described as judicial savagery, ordered Kody Brown, the man who lectured his wives on fiscal responsibility while juggling mortgages and draining savings, to go back to school. He has been allegedly mandated to attend and complete a 6-month course on financial fiduciary responsibility and ethical asset management. Let's unpack what that means. A fiduciary duty is the highest standard of care in finance and law. It means you have a legal and ethical obligation to act in the best interest of another person. The ex-wives' legal team argued that as the patriarch managing the family pot, Kody had a fiduciary duty to all of them, a duty they claim he violated spectacularly. This course isn't Dave Ramsey 101. This is a course designed for aspiring financial planners, for corporate board members, for people who manage other people's money. Imagine Kody Brown, a man with an ego the size of Flagstaff, having to sit in a classroom, or more likely a mandatory Zoom call, with a bunch of 25-year-old finance bros learning the absolute basics of not screwing over your partners. Imagine him having to do homework on ethical asset management, taking quizzes on conflict of interest, writing an essay on why it's wrong to use funds from a shared family account to finance the lifestyle of one preferred wife. This is not a punishment. It's a deep, profound, and public humiliation. It is the court looking at a man who screamed, "I am the leader of this family," and saying, "You are not qualified to lead. In fact, you are so unqualified, we are ordering you to take a remedial course to learn what every responsible adult should already know." Our sources have shared some exclusive details about this part of the order that are just staggering. First, he has to pay for the course himself out of his pre-approved, trustee-managed funds. Second, he can't just sign up and tune out. Attendance is mandatory and tracked. He has to participate in group discussions. He has to pass every exam with, according to one source, a score of 85% or higher. If he fails a module, he has to retake it. If he fails to complete the course within the 6-month time frame, the financial restrictions could be extended indefinitely or even become more severe. This is the ultimate checkmate. The court has stripped him of his financial autonomy and his manipulative communication. Now, it's stripping him of his pride. It's forcing him to confront, in the most academic and undeniable way, all of his failures as the financial head of the family. There is no way to spin this. There is no way for him to play the victim. He can't blame his wives for this. This is a judge, an impartial officer of the court, delivering a final verdict not just on his actions, but on his character. The verdict is clear: incompetent, irresponsible, and in need of fundamental re-education. The grand conspiracy and the ripple effect. So what does this all mean? How does this explosive, secret court order reframe everything we're seeing on the show and everything we will see in the future? This is where we get into the grand conspiracy of it all. Let's look at Robyn. For years, she has been Kody's fortress, his partner in all things. With these rules in place, her entire world is upended. Her spending is curtailed. Her influence over Kody is weakened because she can no longer be his sole confidant in financial matters. A trustee is listening in. The queen of the castle is now a salaried employee in her own home, subject to review and approval. How does their relationship survive when the financial power they consolidated has been seized? Our theory: this is the greatest threat their marriage has ever faced. Now, look at the OG3. This isn't just a victory, it's total vindication. Everything they felt, everything they whispered about, every tear they shed over the financial unfairness has been validated by the legal system. They aren't just bitter ex-wives, they are savvy, strategic women who banded together and executed a legal masterstroke. And this leads to the most compelling theory of all. Was this the plan all along? Think about it. What if Christine leaving wasn't just the first domino to fall, but the opening move in a long, calculated legal chess game? She moved to Utah, establishing residency in a different state, potentially giving them a more favorable legal venue. Janelle, by moving into the RV and becoming financially independent, clearly separated her assets and demonstrated she was no longer under Kody's financial umbrella. Meri, with her businesses, did the same. They weren't just leaving, they were building a case. Each step was a deliberate act to document their independence and Kody's financial neglect. They waited, gathered their evidence, and then, when the time was right, they struck, not as individuals, but as a unified legal entity. This wasn't a messy, emotional breakup, it was a corporate takeover. And what about TLC in the show? If this is happening, why aren't they filming it? This would be the most explosive season in reality TV history. Our theory: they can't. A sealed court proceeding like this would come with strict gag orders. The participants, including Kody, Robyn, and the ex-wives, would be legally forbidden from discussing the case. Suddenly, all those awkward, vague answers in the recent tell-alls make sense. They aren't just being cagey, they are legally muzzled. They are talking around the single biggest thing happening in their lives. The show we are watching is a shadow play, a performance for the cameras that carefully avoids the bombshell legal reality happening behind the curtain. This is the ultimate hack of the Sister Wives narrative. The story isn't about Kody trying to rebuild his life. The real story is that Kody's life is no longer his own. It is being managed, monitored, and mandated by the court, at the behest of the 3 women he cast aside. So there you have it. But a compelling story of Kody's new rules, a financial straitjacket that treats him and Robyn like children with an allowance, a communication ban that muzzles his manipulative tactics and puts their lawyers in control of the conversation, and the ultimate humiliation, a mandatory re-education on how to be a responsible adult, a final crushing blow to the ego of the Brown family patriarch. This narrative, pieced together from insider whispers and exclusive theories, explains so much. It explains the tension, the secrecy, and the sudden, dramatic power shift within this family. It reframes Kody not as a tragic figure, but as a man finally facing the consequences of his own actions, cornered not by his ex-wives, but by the unyielding power of the law. The king has been dethroned, and his kingdom has been placed in receivership. But now I want to hear from you. What do you think of these alleged court-ordered restrictions? Is this justice for the OG3? Is it a step too far? And how do you think this will ultimately affect the relationship between Kody and Robyn? Let me know everything you're thinking in the comments below. Let's get this conversation started. And if you made it this far, thank you for being part of this deep dive. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel with notifications on, because our sources say this is just the tip of the iceberg. And when the next piece of this story breaks, we will be here to put it all together for you. Thanks for watching.